Life and Podcast, we gon' talk about it, yeah, we get it poppin'. Every Wednesday it be essential, we are the only options. Who they trust with their topics, even if it is toxic. Life and Podcast, we gon' be here just to talk about it. We gon' talk about it. We gon' talk about it. Life and Podcast, we gon' be here just to talk about it.
Yo, welcome back to another edition of the Life Be Life and Podcast. Back up on the scene, now I mean, I'm your host, Tony D.
And I'm your host, D to the J. Back in the building once again. Still a G thing. You already know.
Man, you already know, man. What's cracking?
Man, it's another Won't He Do It Wednesday, Brody.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's been a weird month. I think it's just a lot of things, man. I kind of touched on it a little bit over the past 2 weeks, man. Just a lot of people playing with this month and not really seeing the historical value, not seeing the real purpose behind it to empower and teach your kids, because they taking so much stuff out of the schools and out of the school books. And now they got it to where, if you teaching a curriculum that's different, other than what what we say you're supposed to be doing, funding and different issues could be removed. So just like a little things like that, man, just really been having me tight for the better part of a month. Bro, it's about 2-3 weeks ago, man. I looked up and I'm listening to Public Enemy, man. And hey, and when they was out, of course, we little bitty kids. The crazy part, and I say that, you know what I'm saying, and it's funny, but the reality though, when I listen to those lyrics, Brody, man, that stuff is still relevant to this day. So I'm going back listening, and I'm like, dang, this was in the 80s. And the topics and the lyrics are just as potent today. So that's been up with me, man. What's the word with you?
Man, so if you follow me on Facebook, this week I've been cutting up. Next Wednesday, March 5th, man. Hey, I'll be celebrating 19 years of marriage, man. So I want to give a quick shout out to the wife, man, because as I look back, I'm grabbing a lot of pictures from our past. I'm talking about, like, there was a picture from the Ozarks. That was our very first trip, and that was like 6 to 7 years into the marriage.
Tag team wrestling match y'all had.
Wrestling match.
Yeah, the tag team for the belts.
So, and there's others coming, all the way into next Wednesday. But I just want to say this, man, from the bottom of my heart, wife, I mean, I can't, adequately get enough time to tell you how much I appreciate you. I know sometimes in our daily in passing, because a husband has his job, a wife has her job, a father has his job, a mother has his job, but we also remember that husband and wife together have a job. And I just appreciate the fact that you keep me honest, you've made me who I am. When you came into my life, man, and you knew I had 2 other kids, you made sure that those kids were grafted into our family. You made sure that you cultivated and developed relationships with those kids to where that 29-year-old and that 24-year-old now call you mom. That's so dope. Because of you, I really feel like that I beat a lot of statistics, man. I was kind of crazy. My teenhood, my 20s were wild, and I met you on the end of my 20s, man, and I really believe that you saved my life, because I was out here. I don't feel like that I would know God the way that I know God without meeting you. I don't feel like that I would know the people that are in our life without knowing you, because all of this is byproducts of being with you and being in ministry and being in certain places. So I could do this all show, but I want to give a queen's just due. You know what I'm saying? I just want to make sure, even as we do privately, and I say privately, but I say openly to all the 22 countries that we're in, to all the platforms that we on, that Miss Nidra Dyson, I love you. I love you. You complete me. So we're gonna kick it this anniversary, man. So I go on vacation Friday. We're gonna be out and about, man. So hey, we have a good time, man.
I like that. And it's something that's needed, man. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of times we just don't take the adequate amount of time, man, just to speak our piece when it comes in that regard. Um, I feel like the vibe in today's society is, be the tough guy, be cool. You lovey dovey, but you don't want to let nobody know it. You feel me? So it's kind of like,
Right.
yeah, you playing hard body, and that's not it. And
Hey.
uh, you know,
Yeah, she is truly Superman's kryptonite.
yeah, I like that. I like that. So
All
what
right,
we
man.
gonna talk about?
What we got popping tonight, man?
Well, we had a special guest, Brody. Um, and I'm glad we were able to get this gentleman on the line, man, because we were trying about a year ago. You know what I'm saying? And he a busy man. He out here doing
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff that off and on we stay talking about anyway. Criminal defense attorney, and he's doing a lot of work here locally. Everything happens for a reason, bro. And I honestly feel like
Yeah.
uh it's going to be more powerful in his words and direction, and information are going to hit so much harder this year than last year,
Yeah.
just due to
Big
blog
facts.
talk and the lack of video. We've been fortunate enough just to come a long way. So tonight's show, man,
Yeah.
we're gonna hear it straight from him. There's a lot of stuff that's going on out here that we're uncertain about. A lot of changes we're hearing about on the news. A lot of stories that we hearing popping up every single day. Loved ones getting in trouble. We wild. We scared. So
Yeah.
what do we do? You know what I'm saying? So we at a point, man, we got to start slowing people down and letting them really hear the real, instead of seeing the videos when it's said and done and they standing beside my man's getting that
Right.
sentence ripped off on them, and watching their
Yeah.
soul leave their body when they keep hearing 20 years consecutive, count such and
Yep.
such. Yeah, man. So I'm excited, Brody.
I bet. All right. Hey, let's go ahead and do what we do before we do what we do best. You feel me?
And you know that.
The views and opinions expressed on the Life Be Life and podcast are solely those of the artists, producers, guests, and hosts of the show. Any numbers, stats, or stated resources that are given, we do ask that you verify that information for yourself.
Have you ever been in a situation and needed to be a little bit of emotional but just couldn't seem to tap in? Possibly needed to back your way out of a lie and show them that you're telling the truth by crying? Well, have no fears. Cry No More is here, made from real baby tears. The organic, all-natural substance you'll take once a day, and it'll produce tears on the spot. It'll get those tear ducts flowing. May cause side effects including internal bleeding, diarrhea, hemorrhaging of the belly button, eyelash removal, hair removal, back fat removal, toes falling off, and also bad breath. Cry no more. Real organic tears. Never be stranded again.
All right, y'all. We about to jump back in just because we took a little extra time in the beginning. But hey, you know what I'm saying? Get you some Cry No More. Only available at lifebelifeandpodcast.com. All right. So
You only you only you only can get the Cry No More every single Wednesday, 8 p.m. Life Be Lifing.
indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right. So let me clear my throat, man, because I got to enunciate bringing
Come
this
on,
gentleman.
Dougie. Come on,
Let
Dougie.
me, I had to DJ Pooh. Let me
Yeah.
clear my throat.
Yeah.
So
Come on.
all right, so this gentleman that I'm about to bring on, I met a number of years ago. I was actually placed in a situation. I'm driving one day. I'm actually headed to church to a conference right there on Halls Ferry in Chambers. I knew my Lincoln. I had a stinking Lincoln. My Cadillac converter was bad. So I hit Chambers, you know what I'm saying? Hitting the right because, there was a traffic light. So I'm trying to coast to get up the hill. Y'all know that big old hill on Chambers. Um,
Yeah.
Coincidentally, as I'm busting the right, St. Louis County bus on the left. And I swear to God, we made eye to eye.
Out of eye contact, my God.
I'm trying to get up the hill, man. And he done turned around on that little car wash light. He in behind me. I'm trying to bust that right into Believer's Temple, and you know what I'm saying? I think I couldn't. I ended up getting into the parking lot, got pulled over, you know what I'm saying? He just asked me for, all my credentials. He ran my name. So
Yeah.
again, I had some stuff going on beforehand. I had some speeding tickets, man, that produced like 4 bench warrants. I had no idea. This is like 10 years later.
Right.
At work, y'all know from my time at the pasta house, was just talking to one of my customers who's also a dentist. He's like, hey, my son's a lawyer. Give him a call. I gave him a call, and he treated me like family from the beginning. I've referred him to other people, and he's always, so they come back and be like, yo, hey, he handled that fast, and he didn't bust my head about it. Y'all know when we talk about it, you say bust my head. So I want to present to some, introduce to others, Mr. Eric Abramson and all. So I'll clap it up for him real quick, man.
Guys, I really appreciate
Eric.
Yes.
Good evening, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Trying to enjoy as much as the rest of the day as I can before I got to go back to work in the morning and tomorrow's challenges,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So last year, I think, and probably about 9 months ago, I believe you got married. You were island hopping across the world, man. So as I'm hitting year 19, bro, you headed to year. I had an F on my mouth, so year 5.
Yeah, I just tried to help you. I already know what the F was gonna be. I keep the
So Eric is rounding that corner to year 1. Talk to us about marriage, man. How's marriage life been doing you?
It's great. I'm 40 years old, got married at, I think, 39 it was. So waited quite some time before I found the right person. And I think that the experience of getting married at the age that I did, it's not, it throws out a lot of the stereotypes and general understandings people have when it comes to marriage. When you get married you were in your late 20s, right, Tony? So when you get married,
the second time,
I'll say not that first time. He got married at 13. He came right out of 6th period and went.
There's a lot of things I thought about saying right now, but I'm just gonna let that. I don't know what I don't know what the culture is here. I don't know what's allowed.
Hey, we keep it clean, but a joke is a joke, and don't care who tell it, and don't care who go laugh at it. It is what it is.
Fair enough. But I just think, getting married when you're younger, not that I've ever done it personally, but I think if I got married at 25, I don't know what they'd be signing up for, but whatever I am at 40, it's really not, I'm not the same guy anymore, for better or for worse. People just kind of gradually change and grow over time. And, my wife and I, got the same birth year. And, I think we reached a point in our lives where, we're on similar levels and we're straightforward about what we want out of life, what we want out of our marriage, where a lot of people, they just might feel like they're in love, jump into it and figure
That's exactly what happens. You're right. Exactly what happens. And I'm very glad that you said that, because out of the 3 of us, you're the only one who waited to that age bracket. And ironically, you're the only one that is experiencing their first marriage, because we're in the same age bracket, but we're both on our second, because in those early 20s, you get married, you're in love, and the mind automatically says, hey, this is the next step. We in love. We already living together. What's next, boo? Yeah. Let's get married. And you're 22 years old.
Well, to be fair, I'm not some genius with it all figured out. It happened that way because these relationships in my younger years, they didn't end all that great. That was part of it too.
It worked. It worked.
Yeah, it's kind of a hidden blessing when things don't work out. Sometimes you don't know where you'd be otherwise, but
Indeed. Indeed. That's what's up, Eric. So as I gave a little intro, man, just about kind of how I met you, we're gonna put a focus on, you and your practice for a little bit. So how long have you been practicing law?
so, time really flies, man. I got sworn into the Missouri bar in late 2011. So it's
Okay.
been a while. I would say around March 2013, 2012. That's like when I really committed myself to being self-employed and stopped looking for the dream job and really just kind of focused on doing what I'm doing now. So that's kind of when it all started building up for me.
That's dope,
Awesome.
man.
What kind of led to you just even wanting to get in that field? Like, was it something you seen? Was it you were born into it? Like, what prompted it?
It's, it was kind of organic. Like I knew when I went to law school, I wanted to practice criminal law because just out of all the coursework you're doing and all the studying, it just became, I wasn't the law nerd who studied till 5 a.m. because I loved it, but it's just more interesting in the format of it. They need to prove your client is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I don't need to tell you who did what. I just need to poke holes in what your allegations are, and I need to create reasonable doubt for the jury to be on board with and to kind of gel with. And it's just a different approach. When you're suing someone for money, you got to allege they did this to me, they did that to me. You got to check all the boxes. But this is a defensive situation where, the mindset is just give this person every shot that they can have. And it's a good way to build relationships. It's not always easy, seeing people in tough situations, but I've always just kind of been interested in the relationships you can build with your clients this way. So,
Man. So and actually you walk right into this one. So seeing people in tough situations, have you ever been in a situation to where it was just kind of like, I know what this case is, but I know the type of, life my clients live and they can't really afford for me to do this. Have you ever done pro bono work?
I've done some pro bono work. Typically if I'm going to do something like that, I like it for it to be for someone I already knew. It's a little weird when someone you don't know calls you and they ask you, you take cases pro bono, and I'm like, I didn't ask you for any. I didn't ask you to volunteer. But I've been appointed to doing some pro bono. I remember in Jefferson County, the public defender office was just overloaded with work, and they were shipping cases out one by one to private attorneys. And we didn't get to choose what we got. I'll never forget this. I had some middle-aged woman who wouldn't leave her ex alone, and kept showing up. And she just wouldn't stop, And I was every case is different. Maybe that wasn't the most gratifying work, but she needed defense just like anybody else, And hopefully she's doing well. I don't know. I've heard from her in over 10 years, so we'll see.
Good deal.
That's what's up, man. And in saying that, lifers, as you listening, that by no way means, hey, reach out to this dude if your ends is low, because he's going to be looking out like he didn't just say that. So let's just, but
he said if he don't know you,
yeah, that's why I wanted to clarify, because people hear what they want. They heard, money, my situation. Can you help me? I have, and they didn't hear nothing else. So, with so much being in the news, especially locally where you are, Eric, every day, I know your job is secure, right? How do you feel kind of about the current state of crime as it pertains to whether it's your state, the country? Like, what are the changes that has happened since 2011 as you're seeing these crimes come before your desk?
Well, so it's interesting because the stuff that here's the way it works, right? So you get investigated, arrested for a crime. And then the cops will tell you all kinds of things. They'll tell you, hey, you're getting charged with burglary, assaulting. But at the end of the day, a lot of people don't understand that they do not make those calls.
Okay.
Prosecutors receive all the evidence that was put together from the arresting officer. The arresting officer applies for charges. So, I know especially I could see this with one of my younger clients, they really piss off that cop quite a bit, right? So he's asking for, malicious assault of a law enforcement officer when he kind of like gave him a little shove and, he's everything, resisting everything. But it's that prosecutor and it's their politics in play that dictate what ends up being an actual criminal case, who's facing the charges. So, Wesley Bell took over in St. Louis County a while back. He took over for Bob McCullough. He's no longer there, but his, politics were different. They were both Democrats, but Wesley Bell was, well known to be more progressive. So all of a sudden, I stopped seeing possession of a controlled substance, things like that coming across my desk. Now, I can't argue with it. He was elections have consequences. He was elected. He felt like that wasn't a crime.
Yeah.
He prosecuted. I stopped seeing felonies for not paying child support. If you're a year behind, like let's say I pay $1 a month child support, just for the simplicity of math, and I'm 12 months behind, I could get a felony, right?
Right.
Wesley Bell will take that situation and he'd maybe issue a misdemeanor just out of just kind of a courtesy to not try to ruin someone's life, right? So the crimes that I see coming off my desk, they're very much a reflection of local politics. So, and what's crazy is some of the stuff that I see it's just insane, hard to believe. I'm just a small fish in this big ocean, right? So that stuff might not even crack the news, but some of that stuff, it might keep me up at night. So I think the media is interesting in how they pick and choose which stories they like. But I've pretty much seen like a steady regimen of all types of stuff in St. Louis County, St. Louis City, St. Charles. Sometimes I notice I see a little bit more than usual of like violent crime. There's a little bit more violent in the city. They have that burden of protecting their residents. That's important. In the county is where I see a lot more nonviolence.
Okay.
I'd say I'm too small of a sample size to really notice.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that's very fair. So, and again, you're kind of walking right into what I was thinking next. So, as you talked about, felony charges, things of that nature. So I seen on the news this morning, which is something that I didn't know about, that nonviolent felons are now, I don't remember the time frame at first. I think it was like 3 to 5 years, but now after 18 months of completion, they can request an expulsion. Kind of a good example, there was this guy on the news this morning, didn't know where he was working. He was African American guy. He showed a picture back when he was young, back in the Freeman Bosley days.
Wow.
And of course, back in that time in the 90s, man, the 90s were an era to be reckoned with. Everybody was kind of doing their thing.
Yeah.
So I believe, again, I'm speculating, that's what he, got in trouble with. And he's like, I've been out for 25 years. I completed everything that I needed to complete. I haven't gotten so much as a parking ticket. I believe that as I reach that age of, 50 plus, I deserve a shot to, live a life and wind down properly. So you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah. So the Missouri, so the expungement statute in Missouri, it's evolving. It's constantly changing. So I would say the great majority of nonviolent felonies, they're eligible for an expungement. The law up until January was you can expunge one felony in a lifetime, right? So let's say I caught a drug case in 2020, right? And I got probation and non-conviction, and I walked it down, and then I got another one, 2021, 2022, right? So they give me a conviction. I'm a convicted felon. I would be able to expunge that 3 years after I complete the papers, the probation papers, I'm sorry. So now it's 2. So now you can expunge 2 felonies in a lifetime. So if you get convicted twice, you can get it expunged. So it's changing over time, and it's changing for the better. It's becoming more expansive. When I first started practicing, a felony for stealing was not expungible. So there's a list under the Missouri expungement statute, what you can get rid of and what you can't. Now, you can't murder someone, do 25 years, get out, and want, the bank not to know about it when you're applying to be a teller, right? Like, they're going to know. They technically, I'm not judging, but they probably should know, right?
Understood.
Stealing was one of those no-nos. So, I get it and I don't. Sometimes people change. Things happen when you're younger. Well, now a felony conviction for stealing is expungible. So I'm seeing a lot more of it. I'm getting a lot more calls about it. It's it's something I enjoy doing. It gives people a fresh start, and no one's facing jail or prison time. I'm just going to say it. So it's kind of a little more relaxing. We get to gel a little bit more with our clients. Like a lot of them will be. Some of them try to go into law enforcement. They're like, I got to get rid of this junk from my past, and it's kind of fun seeing people. I'm meeting the version of them that's matured and gotten past all that, and sometimes it's funny. I'm like, I can't even imagine the stuff this guy was getting into. But I see it more. I get more calls about it, and it's growing. I think one that I came across the other day that was not expungible is forgery. So like altering a check could be payable to Tony Dyson. I write over it and write my name, payable to Eric, right? Go cash it, get a felony conviction. Unfortunately, they're going to know about that wherever I apply for rent, apply for a job. So it's changing for the better, though. More stuff's coming about that's expungible.
Yeah, so. That's nice, man.
Yeah. And so with that, lifers, I really hope that the education piece for yourself, and even as you're talking to your younger children, teenage, younger adults, because there's things that they're going to do in their earlier phase of life when they're not as mature, when they're more reckless and more on the verge of doing something without care or caution, and they're not going to be able to get away from it as they settle in life, as they go to start a family. So something to really talk about and think about. Something that often crosses my mind. You'll see, and I guess I'm trying to figure out, because we know the amendment rights that protect a peaceful protest, the right to assembly. And I've seen so many times, recent and in past, there is groups of one assembly that are peaceful, and they're told to disperse, go home, face, they might even be getting arrested or detained for doing what the amendment says. And then we see these videos where we're seeing really just, it can be the KKK. It's hate groups that are actively walking in communities to where nobody lives. They have military rifles, and clearly there's an intimidation factor that's set in, and they're not being removed from this scene. Like, what is it? Is there a loophole or something that I'm missing? Because I don't want to speculate, and I don't want to say, see, the government, I'm telling you, they against us. Like, what is it that causes that, where one group can do the extreme, and then here's a peaceful protest, and it's going to be broken up and dismembered?
You ever see those videos of people that are called First Amendment auditors? Like, these guys will just hang out at a police station, just bother the living hell out of these guys.
Yeah.
And they're like just poke,
Obnoxious,
crappy police officer. You don't do your job. What are you doing having a donut?
Yeah.
There's certain people that are just very educated on their rights, and there's certain people that take it too far. But when somebody walks that perfect tightrope of knowing their rights to a T and what they can actually get away with legally, sometimes it just feels like they're just, using it for the wrong reasons, possibly rubbing it in somebody's face. So, you have your First Amendment right to protest. It's the right of free speech. And you also have your constitutional right to bear arms, as long as it's on public property, you can protest in public. You can't just come on somebody's private property and harass them. You see a lot of stuff about Florida crimes being committed where you see all these kind of wacko people outside protesting, but they just make sure to not step on their lawn in any way. They're like, they're right up there. Sometimes it does seem like the way law and order is administered in those types of situations can be a little biased. The way that these constitutional rights are for everybody. So, for example, I come from a Jewish background. So, man, it was crazy, seeing all the people with it's one thing, I see all the Free Palestine stuff, right? And like some of these people out there, they're just supporting where they're from, and where their heritage is. And some people are like, hold up a sign, death to Jewish people. Like, and there's like that one person. It might not be this unlawful assembly, right?
Right.
But it only takes like a couple people being there to destroy the message, to make somebody innocent feel unsafe, to threaten a business owner down the street if that's their commercial property. And it's happening all over the country, all over the world, right? So each local police station, they need to determine how they're going to respond to it. As much as I don't like it, seeing it, somebody could, they could do, like I was like in a mall once and people were walking around with Hitler stuff, swastika stuff. And the truth is, the Constitution, it knows no individual. They have their right to tell me that, I don't approve your heritage. I don't approve it. I don't like it. And as much as I don't like it, that's life, I see a lot of the same stuff you do. And, I'm sure the police were watching them carefully. All they had to do is step over the line a little bit and they're probably in handcuffs. But some people, it's crazy because sometimes it seems like they're the most ignorant people around.
Right.
They know their rights and they know where to step up to and stay out of jail. And, I don't know. I guess people just study law all day so they don't get arrested. I don't know.
So, I'm going to say this before we go to break. I appreciate that thought process because, as the word says, we do perish for the lack of knowledge. And so, as you just kind of put that together to where people got to start educating themselves on, law. Know your rights as a citizen, know your right as a person, but know your laws of your municipalities as well. I think it makes a huge difference, man. Wow.
Very much so.
All right, bro. We're going to take a break real quick, man. We're going to pay a bill, play a quick song, man. Take a breather. You know what I'm saying? Get a drink. Hey, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, on Facebook Live, we may have time for a few questions. Go ahead and put them in the chat. Make sure the screen. So, hey, I'll come here with nothing crazy.
Right. Come back with nothing crazy. Your cousin that's sitting down right now and is calling you, asking you stuff. This is the time. Tell him, hey, ask him questions and shoot it back.
Big facts. All right, we're going to pay a bill. Eric, we're going to slide you out real quick. So, do what you do, and we'll be back shortly. All right? All right, bro. Let's get this cracking.
Let's do it.
Yeah, champions in Christ, let's go. Gang walk up on the block with a bag full of Bibles they like. And
ride. Hiding from God, he can see through camouflage. Rose on the 30, all the victory is ours. Invade the devil, all he want is my demise. He come around, turn him down, no surprise. Adjust my crown like I need a bigger size. My salvation came from Jesus, Satan, my Adidas, make him freeze up. I'm on Cora telling people how good God is. They confessing with their hearts and out their mouths. Jesus died for all my sins, but in 3 days the tomb was open. That's where I put my hope in. Gang walk up on the block with a bag full of Bibles they like. And when they see the light in me, knowing God gave me plenty, they like. I wake up every single day like I can't live no other way. I be like, I tell them all God good, walking all y'all hoods, they like. Y'all know how I go when I get them beats. Stomp on Satan, brand new Jordans feel like cleats. Bible gang, I yell, I promise you know it.
Hey man, hey, a huge shout out to Shoes, man. Hey, we appreciate the music, man. We appreciate, you know, you allowing us to play us on your platform. So y'all, if y'all haven't caught the first part of the show, we have local lawyer, attorney, Eric Abramson on tonight, man, just kind of spitting facts, kind of telling us like it is, man. And I just appreciate the humbleness to really tell it as it need to be told, because sometimes we look at things from our own eyes,
Yeah.
and we don't really look at somebody else's side of the story. So, all right, Eric, I got a crazy question, and I kind of came up with it on break. So, as on one end of the fence, people who have received felonies are starting to get, you know, saying leniency, but I believe they have to have a track record that shows like, hey, this person has changed, he's reformed. Right now, there's a lot of crime going on in St. Louis, where there's carjacking, stealing cars, like there is a lot going on.
Yeah.
So as we're being lenient on one side of the fence, how do we tighten up this stuff? Because these kids are, you know what I'm saying, running wild. I see that you still muted. Go ahead and unmute yourself and start it over for me.
There we go. All right, you hear me?
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's actually very simple. I mean, you do that when you go to vote, right? And you got to think about. For me, it's a little different, you know. I need crime, you know. I need dangerous criminals where I live. I need to know that my family's protected. At the same time, I'm not really looking to put someone in the prosecuting attorney's office who is extra harsh on people that haven't physically injured anybody, hasn't done anything to harm somebody for the rest of their life to that extent. I mean, you do that in the voters booth. And, you know, you got to pay attention to the local politics. And it's a lot about just spreading information. You know, I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but I feel like when I talk to an 18-year-old, 19-year-old client of mine, you know, who's screwed up a little bit, but he's, you know, you can tell that they've got promising future if they just apply themselves.
Yeah.
Like they're hearing everything I'm saying. But when they leave my office and they're around their friends,
It's gone.
we never talked. You know, that stuff means nothing. And I think it meant something when I was talking to him. And I just think it's about, you know, the people you care about, making sure that they surround themselves around the right people.
That's it. That's it. And we've actually talked about so much similar to that. And so whether it's surrounding yourself with the appropriate people, they left your presence and it was there. But then when they get back in their familiar environment, the contrary is being thrown on them. But guess what? There's not another you there that can help fight that fight. Mm-hmm. So that's where we're saying you need people structured around this child, whether it's a positive male figure, if their father isn't present, an uncle, a brother, a deacon, a pastor, somebody that can help when they leave your presence to help push that same message. And yeah, it starts with, like you said, with the voting. And we talked about that, bro, when season 5 really jumped off.
Sure
In the
did.
whole presidential election, and
Yep.
people was debating between Kamala and Trump. Trump this, she's that. She's not even black. Oh, he's this. We're worried about the wrong things.
Yes.
And we're steady saying, hey, what about the circuit judges, the governors, the mayors, these people in the midterms? That's what's going to impact your communities. The president, yeah, they're checking
I gotta
off.
speak facts, boy.
I'm going to. But they're only giving the okay to something that has came across their table, but it starts on our level. But we don't know anybody except Trump and Kamala. And
Right.
all we did, but guess what? Just like a lot of those questionnaires, all we kept doing was just clicking until you get continue, because ideally, I don't know about y'all, I only showed up just to vote to make sure Kamala didn't get in office or Trump didn't get in. I don't know nothing about nothing else.
Yeah.
And then when I get pulled over and I have this loaded, shotty in the trunk,
Yep.
and I'm being taken through all these, whoa, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what to do. So my question, man, go ahead, bro.
Let me interject real quick,
Come through.
just because of what you said.
Yeah.
And there's a question in the chat,
All right.
kind of along with, so instead of bouncing back and forth, I wanted to throw this in here right now. So this is from Alex Abramson. So by him mentioning being pulled over, and I got this in the car. Look, as a citizen, if I'm driving, they ask me for my stuff. Hey, I don't want no trouble. You know what I'm saying? Hey, so is this a question that you can kind of elaborate on? Maybe just give your 2 cents on, maybe even your opinion, because I know it's kind of touchy grounds there.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy the number of videos I see, the number of clients I hear from where they're hardly doing anything wrong. They're going like 12 over and they get pulled over. And all of a sudden we're at this standoff where I don't want to give you the ID. And they're becoming this, like we brought up the First Amendment auditors, right? There's a difference between you exercising your rights and just making things unnecessarily burdensome.
Yeah.
Yourself and the officer, when it comes to an officer requesting you to identify yourself, these First Amendment auditors, like I say, they'll give you a first name. It's probably not even their first name. And they won't, and it's them exercising their rights. But what they're doing is they're creating this tense situation, right? And this, let's say the cop was going to give you a ticket, speeding. That banter back and forth over the ID, here's how it's going to go. I mean, you give him the ID, you don't have any warrants, he writes you a ticket, and you go home, or he takes you to the jail.
Better hope it ain't after dinner time. It's going to be a hungry night.
My advice would be trust the cam footage. I mean, they're almost always equipped with footage. There's dash cam footage. It's there to protect the citizens. Okay. I mean, we've seen a lot of this stuff in the past. Unfortunately, some people had to suffer for us to get to where we are today. But we're here, and you're gonna have you got to trust them. But they are figures of authority.
Yeah.
I go up against an officer almost every day, every week for sure in court, and it might be this intense hearing, and then afterwards I might see him in the hallway, and he'll say, "Hey, you did a good job." And there, it's there every day out there. Some aren't great. Some are wonderful people. I've needed to use the police as just a resident before, as a citizen. And, they're everyday people, man. It matters who you get. You can't control which guy pulled you over. That's for sure. Yeah. But trying to stay calm and keep the intensity from rising like that on a simple traffic stop is the way to go. And getting out your phone and recording, they're already more than likely being recorded anyways. So it's just kind of creating this intense scenario when it could have been handled and you could be on your way. So I would recommend giving your ID and not maybe insulting them and acting like you know the law better. But every situation could be different, you know?
Yeah,
Awesome.
true that.
Alex, we appreciate that question.
Yeah, that was a great question, Alex. And my 2 cents, man, I had a question, but I'm gonna actually bypass that just to piggyback on something else. So, lifers, there's a lot of stuff going on that we're seeing social media to where, like you said, there's some First Amendment auditors. I don't have to give you my ID. I haven't. Am I suspected of a crime? Am I being detained? Am I suspected of a crime? Hey, man, listen. I'm gonna tell y'all step number 1 to not get shot in your John Mellencamp. The first step, comply. It's an ID. Nobody wants to see the ugly picture on your ID anyway, right? Stop playing these reindeer games. Give them your ID. Listen, I don't care if they're 100% in the wrong. Give them the ID. The agenda people, I don't care what color, creed, the agenda is to get home safe. And if me passing my ID to you will put you at ease, because understand this is the reality, and this is why we like to have these conversations, because perspective is reality. So I'm under the impression, I'm getting pulled over fraudulently, and I know that. I've ran Fortune 100 companies and have shut the thing down and have been leaving home, and it's been 11 o'clock at night, and I'm getting pulled over. And my first question is, hey, why are you pulling me over? Because I can. And that told me everything I needed to know, because the last time I tried to be slick before that, went to jail. What's your name? I love it when they call me Big Papa. He let that one slide. What you doing over here in this area? I see some ladies tonight that should be having my baby. And at that point, he said, sir, go ahead and step out. Listen, point of the matter is, lifers, I'm going to turn it back over to you, bro. Stop trying to play these little reindeer games and hold on to what you're seeing on Facebook, YouTube University, these people that went to TikTok University. You're not seeing they're going to jail and they're having to call Eric.
The phone usually gets shut off right around when the handcuffs go on. You know, that's the part we don't ever see.
You don't know the feeling when you've been at work all day, you dead hungry, and you get there, you get processed, and they've already served. You're not getting anything.
Yeah. You're getting
growling. You in there 3 deep, back against the cell, trying to look hard. Your stomach is caving.
Man.
Bro.
Right. Thanks.
Come on, man. Come on.
All right. So, number 1, Eric, hey, I appreciate us being able to grab this time from you. Like, it's been a breath of fresh air, because we hear a lot. Like you said, we see a lot, but not necessarily do we know a lot. And unfortunately, emotions are driven by the unknowledged and unprepared.
Right here.
So, as we got you on tonight, man, and we just, kind of have kicked some things back and forth. And I know you want to stay in business. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But we want to just kind of give you a couple of minutes, man, just to kind of talk to people. If there was some words to talk to that 18, 19-year-old before he got to you. I mean, hey, I appreciate the business.
Run them back.
You got your life to think about.
Yeah.
So
let's start at 12, 13, right before you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you the floor, man. Do what you do.
Love it.
Well, I mean, like you said, yeah, I mean, I don't want to go hungry, but at the same time, there's never going to be a shortage of people out there who need the help from an attorney. There's been people I've represented that are good folks who've needed an attorney in this one rare particular moment, might have learned from a mistake or two, and they get better. There's people where they make it a career out of calling lawyers, constantly breaking the law. I think that a lot of people they use their emotions. Anything that's easy is not usually the route to take, right? It might be easy to make a couple quick bucks selling a car was initially rented to somebody through enterprise and moving that around and moving some other stuff around. You can make a lot of money quick, a lot more quickly than you would go into school or studying. But the point is, usually the easy path will get you in trouble, and, you know, hard work, it means a lot, and it's not the easy way out. But I don't have to look over my shoulder, you know, when I'm driving. When I see a cop, if he's going to pull me over, I know the worst I got is speeding, and it's peace of mind. And I think people need to start valuing that a whole lot more. I could never imagine living a life where I have multiple warrants for my arrest, and I don't know how much longer I'm going to be out here just hacking it and living my life, having fun. It could be any moment. I could be pulling out of a gas station, going 5, 10 over, and all of a sudden I'm in jail for the foreseeable future, you know, and that's a sacrifice that people give in order to have more money and in order to live their own lifestyle and by their own standards and on their own schedule. So, I mean, my advice to the younger people out there that, you know, don't necessarily do something because it's the easy way. It's never the better way of doing something. Do hard things, challenge yourself, go to school, work hard. I don't want to get up in the morning and work my butt off tomorrow. I'm actually thinking about it right now, and I'm not overly thrilled about it, you know, but at the same time, I know that it's an honest, hard day's work. I'm going to be able to pay for my home. I might be able to afford a gift for my wife. Maybe not, though. She's pretty expensive, to be honest. I don't know. That might take a week or two. But the point is to do things that are hard. Don't take the easy way out. You'll be rich for a good 7-10 minutes and then be behind bars. I'd rather be middle class my whole life than be upper class for a couple months and behind bars the rest of the way. I mean, it's just peace of mind's valuable, right, guys? I mean, not having to look over your shoulder, that's worth millions. It's worth infinity amount of dollars, not having to worry about going to jail. So,
absolutely. Wow. Absolutely. And to summarize what he just said goes hand in hand with tonight's topic for the episode. Doing right will always be in style. The money that you're trying to jump on real quick, by the time you sit down and you do 15, 20 years, and even with a modest paycheck, the average middle class that's clearing 40 grand a year, it's not where you want to be by any means. But even if we took a modest 40,000 a year times 20, that's the money that ideally you hustled for less. You got locked.
I'm finna do the math real quick. Hold on. Keep talking. I'll let you know when I'm done.
480,000.
Who?
480,000.
$500,000. Wow.
480,000 on a 10-year bid. Double it up on the 20.
Well, don't you guys know some people where, and I know plenty of people like this, it doesn't matter what they make. It's like if you make 40, you're spending 50. If you make 100, you're spending 120. It's a hard day's work and appreciating that
mindset.
You live within your means. You
a
know?
Mindset. How many people get raises? You complain all year. You need more money. You need more money. The employer blesses you with a $2 raise. The first thing you do is go out and get a brand new car that has a pay note that's $300 more. And so now that additional, all you have done is added debt. And so one of my business owners said, this is why I'm not quick to just bless people with a raise. I try to educate them first, because I can give you all the money in the world. But if you're a millionaire, but your bills are $999,000, somebody else makes 40 grand a year, but their house is paid for, their car is paid for, so they're clearing 20,000. Who's richer?
Yeah. And now, St. Louis, we're blessed. I mean, look, CNN might not be giving us the most positive coverage in the world when I hear St. Louis get mentioned in the national media, right? Yeah. Hopefully we want a World Series or something. Yeah. But the truth is, we're blessed here. I mean, you can have so many things in the Midwest that you can't have in New York City, in Boston. You can have land here. You can have a sizable home, and you don't need to be a rich person. And, living within your means, it's so important. I mean, like you said, some guy gets a $2 an hour raise. He goes out and buys a car. So he started the situation financially stressed. He was given something to ease that burden. And then he, by his own action, puts himself right back into being stressed out again. I mean, just to show off.
And even worse, because you just added new debt. You probably want to paying off your old, and now you just added on. Yeah. So
social media doesn't help people in their spending habits. I mean, you don't see this couple fighting all the time that you haven't seen in 10 years, right? But you see it when you go on a cruise, and you see it when they get a new car, and you see it when they got the new rings. I've got one nice watch. I don't wear it out all the time. You probably see it in a lot of photos though, because like if I know I'm gonna dress up and have a fun night, I'm gonna wear it.
You can take every picture like this.
Like Deion Sanders or something, but I don't wear it. But the perception we get of people when we only see them in their highest moments,
facts.
Like, oh, your family looks perfect. Oh, yeah, my brother was being pretty annoying yesterday. It's not reality.
Right.
It makes people make awful decisions with their own money, trying to kind of keep up with everybody.
Yeah,
man. So Eric, once again, man, we appreciate every ounce of information, every minute of your time. We're about to enter a spot where we call soapbox. We'll put you in the background after our soapbox, just giving our thoughts on the day. We up out of here. So again, thank your wife for sharing us with you tonight.
Yeah.
And you go get that gift.
Yeah.
You go get it.
I'm gonna go grind for it. Thanks, guys. You got a fan too. I love the show. So.
Man, appreciate it.
All right, thanks again.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, Brody, man. I'm gonna let you kick it off tonight, man. Do your thing.
Real short and sweet, man. I think he really packaged it well. Ideally, it's refreshing because, like he said, he's Jewish. We not. And we say one thing, and we've been saying it for over a year and a half, and then to have somebody that is in this profession of a different community that is really mirroring, echoing the same things, hopefully that should just tell people, look, we coming from a non-biased place. Doing right's always gonna be in style, man. We stay stressed and teach your kids, talk to them. Talk to them about consequences and actions. More importantly, when you're talking to them about it, you have to hold them accountable. You have to teach that every action has a consequence, and also teach them that you're able to do whatever it is that you want to do. However, you cannot control how people respond or react to it. And so that being the case, you can't say, well, I was just playing. Well, they didn't take it as play. And that's why you're in the situation you in. So we need to start thinking outside of the box. Stop playing checkers and thinking about only the next move. And let's start to play chess and thinking about 5, 6, 7 moves out. And then ultimately we think about life. So that's it, man. Think before you blow this thing away, man. You get one life, yo. And ain't no money, ain't no girl. Y'all crashing out over a chick. What is that about? Get you another one. I know you ain't that lame and that bummy that this is it. So it's all or nothing, yo. If she leave me, I'm stuck. Hey, man, re-up on her. I'm just saying, whatever it is, get a better job. Get a better woman. Stop crashing out, losing your life. You sitting in there doing a dub, trying to prove to the block that you hard.
And now you don't even know.
Now you in a situation you hope don't nobody really think you hard. And y'all will figure that out. D to the J. Signing off. Still a G thing.
All right, man. So my soapbox. Doing right will never go out of style.
Yeah.
Famous producer, man, director back in the day, Spike Lee.
Yeah, do the right thing.
The movie was, do the right thing.
Yeah.
And I understand, y'all. Let me not sit back and, you know what I'm saying, portray that I've never done anything wrong, because I told some of it at the beginning of the show. Oh,
Yeah.
and wait, there's more. But
Yeah.
different time, different place, different story.
Right.
So we got to understand this as we go through life, man. More and more jobs that's offering the level of support that we really need in our life, especially if you got kids, especially if you have a spouse. A lot of those jobs are going to require background checks. Now, we talked about it earlier, you know what I'm saying? There's some exceptions to the rules. So depending on your case, make sure that you reach out to somebody, you know, to talk to, you know what I'm saying, about this situation. We got to realize that what we do to another person, we still do to one another. And that thing will come back. So tonight, man, I'm just talking to all the YNs out there. Y'all know who y'all are. Y'all know who I'm talking to. We pray for you, man. We understand that life may not be what you thought it was going to be. We understand that, you know, there may be something at home that you may not feel love, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And I'm not trying to put you in a box. All I'm saying is that the jailhouse and the cemetery are full of brave folk, man. Full of very brave folk. A quality of life is when, you know, hey, I can come home and eat bologna every night, but it's my bologna. I can fry it, melt some cheese on it, you know what I'm saying? I ain't got to wait for nobody to give me no cold bologna. Teach our kids, because the things in the community, they start with us. Because everybody's out there doing something wrong in the shadows. They come in from somebody's house. It's probably not their own. Have standards in your home. Have standards in your life. And as Bro said earlier, hold people to those standards. Hey, because at the end of the day, life gonna keep on lifing. And we're gonna be here to talk about it. I'm your host, Tony D.
And I'm your host, D to the J. Back in the building, and I'm staying in this thing. Yo, next week, the Dysons, my dude ain't finna be here, man. They celebrate 19. It's a beautiful thing. Y'all gonna geek out with your boy? I think somebody.
I may drop by. I may drop by for a hot second. I don't know yet. Who knows what the future holds?
Hey, all I know is somebody done messed up, and they gonna give your boy free reins. Good luck. Hey, don't know what the topic is. We gonna geek out. Definitely gonna teach. We gonna laugh. We gonna cry. We gonna pull up. We gonna all of that. Signing off. Y'all know what it is. Won't he do it Wednesday? Tap in. We here next week, bro. How they finding us?
Sir.
How they finding us?
Sir. So at the bottom of the screen, it's scrolling everywhere you can find us. Get the merch, get the tumblers, whatever the case may be. Quick note to Eric. Once we go off the air, hang out for a hot second. But hey, read the bottom of the screen. Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, iHeart, Pandora, Amazon. Like, the list goes on. I see he's back in place. I want to do one thing before we get up out of here, yo. Out of all the information that we done gave out tonight, we did not give out the information on how to reach Eric, and I got to get that out here real quick. So, Eric, 20 seconds, man. Give us your information.
Yeah, you can reach me directly, 314-753-1372. You can text me there. My email's my last name, Abramson.eric@gmail, ABRAMSON.eric@gmail. You're welcome to reach out. You know, if you aren't able to reach me, leave a voicemail. You know, I'm usually very on top of those. If you leave it on a Sunday at 3 a.m., do me a favor and give me till like 10 a.m. on Monday. All right. Like some people have some wild expectations out there, but I promise I hear all the voicemails and I'll do the very best I can to get back to you as soon as possible.
Awesome. Appreciate it. All right, y'all. We about this camp. Peace.
Every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Tap in with your boy, your host, Tony D to the J. Every Wednesday, Life Be Life and Podcast. And you know, they talk about it.